What's up, everybody, and welcome to a brand new episode of Game Time here on the Game Time channel. We're going to be talking about all the big news and games from Week 5 in the NFL and more. I am the Outlaw John Rocha, one of your co-hosts, joined as always by the man who's maybe, wiping away a few tears, covering up some bruises with some makeup and foundation. He's a Dallas Cowboys fan, but we're going to take it easy on him today. But everybody welcome Winston A. Marshall to the show. How are you, Winston?
No, I cut my bullshit off. You see this?
Yeah.
I cut all that off. I cut all the bullshit. That was all the Cowboys nonsense. Just shave that shit off, baby. We fresh and so clean. I don't give a fuck. As a matter of fact, let me tell you right now, Jerry Jones was quoted apparently on a radio show recently when someone asked him, do you think you should try and get CeeDee Lamb more involved and make him a bigger part of the offense? And he's like, yeah, I don't know if we necessarily need to get CeeDee Lamb more opportunities. I said, what, nigga? So you telling me you're talking about extending Dak and you're going to let CeeDee go? If they extend Dak and they let CeeDee go, I think I'm officially done. I think that would be the sweet release that I need. This abusive relationship can come to an end. I can move on with life.
I just like that you're not wearing your Dallas Cowboys jersey.
No, fuck that. They got to earn that. They got to earn that. They earn that. Raiders. Come on, the black and silver Raiders.
Go Raiders. Go Jimmy G. We got a lot to get into here. Of course, the big premier game of the weekend, the Cowboys and the 49ers, but there were other big games this weekend. There were other fantastic performances and very interesting reactions to these performances and what have you that shaped the week for sure. So we're going to talk about it all, and we appreciate you all hanging out with us. Please remember, first of all, to subscribe to the channel. We're still marching towards that 1,000 subscribers. Hit a like on this video, and if you want to send in your support, since we're not at the super chat level yet, you can send it in through Streamlabs, which is pinned in the chat. It's in the description of the video, and it's right above Winston and I's head right there, and we'll check it and answer your questions as we go on. All right, let's get into it because it's the premier game of the weekend here. Brock Purdy threw 4 touchdown passes to lead the 49ers past the Cowboys here, 42-10. 3 of those passes were to George Kittle, who seemed to be wide open every single time when he caught the ball. And San Francisco's defense hounded Dak Prescott all night into 3 interceptions, costly interceptions here, and it pretty much was a wipeout. Very close to what I predicted last week, 45-10. I said Brock was going to throw 5 touchdowns. He threw 4, but still close enough to still put me in the realm of Rokadamas. But I was shocked. I got to be honest with you, Winston, because I thought when Dak Prescott threw that touchdown to Ritter, I thought that was a really nice throw. And I'm like, okay, here they go. It's 14-7. This is going to be what Winston said, like 24-21 or 31-30. It's going to be a knockdown, drag-out battle. And then all of a sudden, it just kept piling on and piling on. So what can you say about this game? And what are your feelings about Brock Purdy now after what happened in this game? Your thoughts?
I'm going to start off with fuck you and your shitty math, because if it was 45-10, that's not 5 touchdowns, fool. That's not even mathematically possible. Okay?
Yes, it is.
Get the fuck out of here. I mean, it is. Shut up. Shut the hell up. I realized what I said. I thought about it. All right? I'm exhausted. My brain don't work. Black math. I don't know. Cowboy math. That was cowboy math. That's
I know cowboy math. I'm used to cowboy math. Tell
me. So here's the truth of the matter, man, is that we were doing okay for a little bit. There was nothing that was too unredeemable, but you needed them to go into halftime and make adjustments because there were big mistakes that led to them having a lead, but nothing unmanageable.
Right.
And then once we came back and we saw that no adjustment was made, the best we could get out of it was a field goal, that then for the rest of the game, the wheels just came completely off.
Yeah.
And you saw all sorts of things like Van Der Esch looking like he compressed his spine. Who knows what the ultimate thing was? You saw Micah at one point, his ankle was bothering him, I guess, or whatever. And then you saw Dak looking like Daniel Jones. He thought he saw ghosts everywhere, bro. And he was panicking and he was like, oh my God, I know Nick Bosa is ready to call me a coon and stomp on me. So he was trying to run away. And the next thing you know, he's throwing interception after interception. And this thing is so far out of hand that every time that he's like, interceptions, I don't throw no motherfucking interceptions. That was last year, bitch. Get out my face. He threw 3.
He threw
three, which means that when we were on pace last year, where he essentially had 1 a game, because he had 15 and he played not even that, he had more than 1 a game essentially by the time that was over.
Yeah,
we are now on pace again because he now is sitting on 4 out of 5 weeks.
Yeah,
so he is well on pace to going right back to 1 a game. And I think there are 2 things that are honestly true here. I think that both Dak Prescott and Mike McCarthy
Yeah.
are the problem. It's them, and they got to go. I don't know what the solution is. I don't know who you bring in instead of Dak.
Yeah.
But he's proven that when he needs to step up, there was a point in time when he was a younger quarterback where he hadn't developed bad habits.
Yeah.
That he seemed to do fine. And now it feels like when the chips are down, when he is behind, he just wilts.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so sad to see because there really felt like a lot of promise in this dude. And I think we know now, mind you,
Yes.
I do think this game is more about the Niners being the best team in football than it is about the Cowboys being a complete desert, like a complete wasteland. But I think
they're going to be fine. Yeah. It's just that
but
this is the bar and they couldn't meet the bar.
not even close.
Yeah.
So we'll make the playoffs, but I think we're going to be another one and done team. Like that's what makes me sad about it is that like, if this game had at least been close, I like, and it's not even just like the score, like if you had gone out of the score at halftime, I still would have been like, it wouldn't have been as bad, but I still would have been like, bro, we're not really in their league. We were hanging in there, but we were getting just beat everywhere.
Yeah. It was only 21-7 at halftime. And so the third quarter was there for you all to come back. You only scored 3 points in the third quarter. You only scored 3 points in the rest of the game. And that's the issue there, right? I mean, because you can come back. You certainly got the firepower and the potency. But that defense, man, is a scary defense.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that's part of the problem is that I was hoping in that moment with the Cowboys defense, because it wasn't even like you were getting train wrecked. It was that little things would happen that would kind of unravel stuff, and then they would kind of tighten back up because there were plenty of times where you forced Purdy into 3 and outs.
Yeah.
You had a number of those, but when you do that and then Dak throws the interception immediately, you are then asking the defense to now do a red zone stance against one of the best red zone teams in the league. Like, what are you doing? Like, to the point where when Christian McCaffrey is the least of your problems, where like he's actually not a threat and everything else, that's insane.
Yeah.
That's insane.
That's one of the things we talked about last week, right? The amount of weapons that he has there. You shut down McCaffrey. Oh, look, George Kittle is wide open for 3 touchdowns. You shut down Kittle. Oh, look, Brendan Ayuk is available. You shut down Ayuk. Look, Deebo Samuel's going to do his thing. You shut down Deebo. Oh, here comes McCaffrey again. So it's a tough thing to be able to game plan for this team. And as they're getting better and better, and as we've said before on the show, I firmly believe they would have won the NFC Championship last year and mollywopped those Eagles and then took care of business against the Chiefs. I firmly believe that. I think this year, barring any injury to Brock Purdy, this team looks like it believes in itself. It's humming. Everything is working out. And Shanahan looks like I've finally found the quarterback that can implement my system as a coach and be able to be successful in the system. And if Brock can take this team to the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl, I think it speaks even more highly of Shanahan that he was able to get Jimmy G to 2 NFC Championship games, considering how inconsistent Jimmy G was. And if Brock Purdy stays healthy and has a long career, we could be looking at the Belichick and Brady of the NFC in this situation.
That's what I was gonna say. Is I don't like saying this, especially like if it had been for a team that I don't have any personal feelings involved in, that'd be one thing. So if it was like, oh, this was about to, like when it happened with Seattle, before we found out that Russell Wilson was kind of a dick, that like, you know what I'm saying? The idea of Pete Carroll and Russell Wilson doing it, it's like, it's a team that doesn't really affect anybody. Yeah, they're in the NFC. That's scary. You got to deal with. For it to be the fucking Niners of all the teams, bro, is kind of crazy. And for anybody that's saying that Purdy is not the game changer, you clearly are no longer, you don't watch football. Yeah. I see somebody in the comments saying that it's just CMC. I need you to understand something. Is Christian McCaffrey a massive piece of that? Absolutely.
Of course.
But if you're actually watching how Brock Purdy is playing, this dude looks like Brady when he started to fully piece together how he can run that shit. It's terrifying seeing how poised Purdy is. Even when he has those 3 and outs, he goes, okay, learns from whatever mistakes. He is putting pinpoint shots to these weapons. Yes, you're having a Deebo or a CMC or a Kittle finish the job, but you got to get them that it's handing off the damn baton, and he passes it off perfectly every time. It's terrifying what this kid is doing. And we have enough. We need to give him his flowers. Enough.
That's what I was saying last week. I feel like this kid is going to get a title before any of these other heralded quarterbacks get a title. I'm telling you, he's on the right system. He's on the right team. They've got the right weapons. They've built up the defense. They've done everything possible to put him in the best position, and he is taking advantage of it. And they're not winning 17-10 or 13-7. He is putting points on the board. He is throwing phenomenal passes, and he's working the system and understanding how to implement, and it seems natural to him. I think what you said just a few seconds ago is correct. His poise in the pocket, watching him this is a huge game. Do you know how many second-year quarterbacks wilt in a game like this? And he seemed to grow in stature as the game was going along. He threw a 38-yard dime to George Kittle, threw a 24-yarder, threw a 63-yarder to Deebo Samuel. So he's got the ability to extend the play, extend the field. And yes, I agree with you. If you're, as I said last week, and I said on Twitter, on X, whatever the fuck it's called this week, if you're still doubting Brock Purdy, you're not living in any kind of reality. And please miss me with this bullshit of, we'll put him on another team and see what happens. That's not how reality works. Because I guarantee you, if you put a 6th-round Tom Brady on the shitty fucking Raiders back then, they wouldn't have won dick either. So the point is, whatever, he is great right now. If he stays healthy and Shanahan coaches him great, he is going to be a great quarterback. And all that bullshit about put him on another team, see what happens, you can flush that down the toilet because it's not logical. It doesn't make any fucking sense.
It's also from the standpoint of, because let me tell you this much. Like you said, I think what further speaks to how good this kid is specifically, and yes, obviously the system has something to do with it. That's why coaches exist. I get it.
Belichick's system had something to do with it. Yeah,
I understand that 1,000%. But that's why coaches exist, and 2, why you could look at a situation like Phil Jackson can have multiple different teams, and he's only able to he pulled off a shit ton of rings, but he made it happen. There's a reason why you could have Kobe and Michael on non-Phil Jackson teams, and they don't get the job done. You know what I'm saying? So, it is an argument up to a point, but when the kid has shown all the signs, when you're watching the tape of how he handles situations where defenses are collapsing on him, where he has a bad moment, but he learns how to evolve out of it. When you're watching him make specific throws, it's timing, it's the release, it's all the things that he's doing. And on top of that, you could have the best system in the world.
Right. For
him to do this in what is arguably still a rookie season, because he's only played I believe 12 games. No.
Wait, hold on.
He's played 14. He's played 14 because it was two playoff games.
Right.
So he's played 14 games, and he is undefeated in games where he starts and finishes. If he gets injured, that's a different conversation.
Right.
But if he starts and finishes a game, he is undefeated. That doesn't happen. That literally does not happen. Even the best of the best that have come through, even the Mahomes and the Bradys and the Peytons and the Montanas, nobody has done this. You have to put respect on it, please. And to act like people can't win it all without weapons, you have to have weapons. And if you want to make the argument that, Brady didn't have the whatever receiving core, you know what he had? A defense that was fucking unstoppable. And I understand that part of what this Niners defense is. And so Purdy needs that in order to get, but put some respect on the fucking kid's name.
You have to. And I'm not, I saw Sean already starting with this nonsense. I haven't downplayed any weapons that Purdy has. What I'm saying is that you can take other second-year quarterbacks, put them on the 49ers, and they will shit the bed like Trey Lance did. Jimmy G was completely inconsistent. He had all these weapons. He had Ayuk, except for McCaffrey. He had Ayuk. He had Deebo, he had Kittle, he had all these weapons and 2 better running backs than Purdy has now, other than McCaffrey. He could have done all this with the system, and it didn't work. So you have to find the right quarterback that understands your system and put it in motion. I think this is really important. Coaches can coach up, but as we've seen with Bill Belichick and Mac Jones, just because you're a great coach doesn't mean you're going to be able to coach a great quarterback into becoming great. Joe Gibbs and maybe a couple other coaches ever coached a different. Bill Parcells coaching Phil Simmons and Jeff Hostetler into the Super Bowls. That's a rarity when you have a coach who can coach multiple quarterbacks into positions of strength and into playoffs and into Super Bowl wins. And it clearly is working here. I don't deny that he's got the weapons, but he knows how to use them. He's getting the ball to them, and he hasn't thrown an interception in 5 games. Okay.
Yeah.
5 games he hasn't thrown an interception, and he's got high numbers. He's done a lot of pass attempts, and he hasn't thrown an interception in 5 games. So people can shit on him because they're jealous or because they don't like it, but it's the truth. The fucker can play.
It's on top of the fact that when you look at shit like he is number 1 in QBR by a long shot at 83.6, that this kid is literally outshining multi-year vets that arguably have a more loaded offense. I think the most well-loaded overall team period is by far the 49ers, but there are offenses that have more weapons than them, and nobody's discounting Christian McCaffrey at all. Obviously, Christian McCaffrey is a big deal. We've seen what he's done. He's had multiple touchdown games this season, let alone over his career this season. He's talking about 3 and 4 touchdown games. But guess what else is happening? A chain's happening down there in Miami and shit. And Miami don't look like motherfucking the 49ers. Tua out here balling with Tyreek Hill, and he don't look like the motherfucking 49ers. Joe Burrow out here having Jamar Chase and oh my God.
T. Higgins.
T. Higgins, Boyd. He ain't looking like this. You got Josh Allen over here loaded like a motherfucker.
Josh Allen's got weapons.
You have Kirk Cousins with the bet. Justin Jefferson is an entire receiving core, and the Vikings don't look like this shit. Like, I need people to understand. I am not taking away from the Debos and the Ayuks and the CMCs, but Brock Purdy is about to go and make people have to start second guessing. Is this still Mahomes' league? Is this now the way you saw Peyton and Brady and they kind of co-shared the league? Is this about to be Purdy and Mahomes? He's got to win a chip first. He's got to win an MVP. But if he's showing this kind of level this early, if he continues to grow, if he doesn't regress, this is a trajectory where all of a sudden the way we used to talk about Aaron Rodgers is doing, Brock Purdy could be that guy. He is showing that kind of brilliance in his poise right now. So if he continues to do this, all blessings to him.
Yeah. If you can't see that, you don't know how to watch or analyze football. If you're not seeing that, you do not know how to watch and analyze football. It's simply that simple, And so, and speaking of which, I'm going to jump one link because I want to bring this up. Because we've got a guy who came out, and I've always been like, how does ESPN hire these journeyman quarterbacks who have shitty track record, shitty win-loss records, and give them an opportunity to talk? I'm talking about the Hasselbacks, and I'm talking about Dan Orlovsky. Here's Dan Orlovsky saying this nonsense to a head football coach who is much more successful than Dan Orlovsky ever was as an NFL quarterback. That is Ryan there, ex-Ryan there.
For years, this team, they'll never win again. All right, because I'm telling you, they had to run with Brady. When they let him go,
he's talking about the Patriots.
Never win again. They're not going to.
If Mac Jones was in San Francisco, he would be playing like Brock Purdy.
I actually agree. Oh, God, no.
Yes, dude.
No, there's no chance. He'd be better than he is. But if you think he's going to play like Brock Purdy, you haven't paid attention to Brock Purdy. That is a slap in his face.
No, it's not.
100%.
He's not just a system quarterback.
Did we
that guy's playing like Joe Montana, not Joe Montana.
No, I've never seen Joe Montana in a rec league as a quarterback, so I don't want to disparage the man. But I think this is absolutely correct. And Greeny was about to jump in, who is sucking that Aaron Rodgers dick like crazy. He's got no room to talk about anything, okay? This is the true situation. Brock Purdy is the real deal. And no, Mac Jones on San Francisco would not be doing just as good. That is stupid. There are instincts that you cannot coach. Tom Brady had them with Bill Belichick in his first year. Brad Roethlisberger in his first year, under Cowher, he went to the Super Bowl against Seahawks. So, this is these things you cannot teach the intangibles. Some quarterbacks have it, some quarterbacks don't. No matter where they get selected, no matter what college they come out of, they have those intangibles. Purdy looks like he has those intangibles so far, man.
There is something to be said if you were watching somebody and all they were doing was just very clearly whatever coach says, this is just because this is some crazy trick play. This is because whatever set is open and all that. And I also understand people are like, well, he's getting developed by the best person. Well, guess what, bro? Fucking Daniel LaRusso. I know I'm popping into movies. He's only that way because my nigga found Miyagi. All right. So if Brock Purdy found his motherfucking Miyagi, this is the Karate Kid that runs the valley, ho. I don't know what to tell you. Like there is success is equal parts like talent as it is hard work and opportunity and just luck, bro. You have to have the luck to be teamed up with the right person. I would even make the argument, man, that like you had some legendary runs in the Schmodown, but there was something special about teaming you up with motherfucking Dan Murrell. Yeah. And there's something about the founding fathers versus if you had paired up with, say, who was somebody that was a killer? If you had tipped up with Bibiani, like Bibiani's mad good. Y'all's personalities, I don't think that chemistry would have worked out for y'all to win chips. Like there is, you do need to have a certain marriage for success to happen, but someone has to bring it to the table in the first place. You have to be bringing something to the table in the first. Otherwise, Trey Lance would be doing this. Yes. You know what I'm saying? Like stop this.
Shanahan is clearly a damn good coach, if not a great coach. And it's not about he couldn't get Trey here, he couldn't get Jimmy G here. Sometimes you can bring these men to the water. You cannot make them drink. Brock Purdy drank the whole fucking lake, and that's the difference there. And you see him doing it on the field. Let's switch over to Micah Parsons here. I got to get your thoughts on this, man. He was on a show here talking about the situation with George Kittle wearing a Fuck Dallas shirt. And he's got some comments here. I got to get your thoughts on this because this is after the game, and this is after he traded jerseys with Christian McCaffrey.
George Kittle had 3 touchdowns on us, and he posted this thing to IG. He said, F Dallas. I just feel like he's making it way more personal than it had to be. Kittle's my guy, but I'm going to say this. Laugh now, cry later. We got something for that. Just trust. If we see them again, just trust. And we're going to put it just like that. I ain't going to put too much on it. You're going to make it personal. We can make it personal. That's cool.
Wait. Winston, they've knocked you out of the playoffs 2 years in a row. They beat you 42-10. And it's not personal yet? I don't understand what Micah is talking about. Please explain.
I get it, and I don't get it. I don't get it in the sense that in your biggest, I think your biggest loss with the team.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That seems like a weird time to be like, you know, you done made that the loss should be what made it personal.
Right.
However, I do understand there is something that happens differently in me as far as like anger and competitive edge when I'm just getting beat and I'm like, fuck, maybe I'm just not as good or whatever's going in my head versus if someone says something genuinely disrespectful, I play with a different type of anger. Truthfully. And now all of a sudden, whereas maybe I could only push it to 100%, all of a sudden I am pushing it to 125 because I'm fucking pissed. And I'm not pissed in terms of the game of like, I don't like getting embarrassed like this. I'm pissed because now you have actually triggered something. So if that really does awaken the beast in Micah, if Micah now takes this loss and he takes this IG post and it becomes fuck everybody in the league, I'm about to fuck your day up. And like you're seeing a situation where he's getting 2 to 4 sacks a game on players. And then we see the Niners in the playoffs and he's out here and he puts Christian McCaffrey on the IR until the next season. You know what I'm saying? If that's what comes out of this, great.
Right.
And I also understand there's
not that we're advocating for injuring players.
No, don't actually hurt anybody. But you know what I'm saying? If all of a sudden he starts playing with that kind of viciousness, because I want to say when they looked at him on the bench a couple times, I was like, where's the fight the dog, bro? Like where did it go? Like you're getting beat this bad that like I'm surprised you're not still out there just like trying to hurt somebody. Sorry, not hurt somebody, but like leave a message. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Leave a message at the very least, because I think there is something to be said about even in like some of the worst losses I ever saw in like Kobe or MJ.
Right.
MJ is still like, I may have lost by 25, which very rarely ever happens ever, but I'm gonna get 40. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm still getting 40. You're gonna remember that I did not stop. And when the rest of my team, I cuss them out and they get their shit together, we're going to fuck you up. You know what I'm saying? Like what was The Last Dance. They were talking about that rookie that like put
LaFonso
35
Ellis.
on Jordan.
For the Wizards.
And
LaFonso
Jordan
Ellis.
goes, and I took that personally. And he fucked that kid up. If I had seen that out of Micah, where like clearly this game was over, but he's still fighting.
Yeah.
So I just need to see him this night. Take it out on the next team, then take it out on the Chargers. I'm planning on going to the game, so take it out on him.
Oh, nice. Yeah. And of course, this was Kittle's shirt was an homage to Gary Plummer's shirt from way back in the 90s that also said F Dallas. So it was a lineage. It was a heritage. It was carrying forward there as well. And you're right about that. I mean, look, this is Micah walking out on a tightrope. This is a bit of brand saving. This is a bit of trying to change the narrative about your team just didn't show up and got beat. You're trying to say, okay, now you made it personal. You're trying to psych yourself up. And I get that. As you said, Jordan did that. He found offenses where there was no, he fabricated offenses where there was no offense. He just created
I love that he used to make shit up.
He used to make shit
up. What kind of psycho?
I wish I had that ability, for God's sakes. I think I had a better Schmodown record when it was all said and done. But these are those things. But you've seen me, right? You know the match. Going in to play Paul, I was not confident at all. I walk out. It wasn't until Roxy and Shannon started chanting fourth round Rocha that I was like, okay, fuck this shit. And so, when people kind of twist that competitive streak in you, all of a sudden you wake up and you're much more laser focused. Some competitors are built that way. Not everybody is. Maybe Micah is. And we will see if they play the 49ers in the playoffs, if that comes to be. And if it does, then Micah will have backed up his trash talk. And that's a good thing for Micah and the Cowboys.
And I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
Micah has runway with me based off of stuff that he's done, but also him being young. Like if Dak was saying something like this, I'd be like, if you don't shut your fucking ass up, I will drop kick you in the throat. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? You've had plenty of times to step up and be that guy, and you shrink away. This is like the first time that Micah has truly been like, when he's on his way to being who he's gonna be, where they got handled, they got manhandled, and so it'll be interesting to see what this does to him, and what kind of man this makes him. You know what I mean? So we'll see. All right. Well, we spent 30 minutes on that game, so let's take a quick break right now, and we'll get into the rest of the games. And send in your Streamlabs and super chats. We'll answer them as we go along. And I know we got two of them to get to. We'll get to them right after this. All right, we're back, Winston. Let's get to these two from Fred Tastic. It says, my Cowboy love keeps me hoping they'll make that turn and we'll return to that championship level. But 27 years of history tell me, no, I'm hopeless. The biggest problem I have was the same against Arizona, was that opponents' defenses looked like they knew what we were running, and you can't have success like that. Yeah, is that a problem here, Winston? Do you think, A, 27 years of history, what's that for you? And then B, do you think that the defensive coordinator has been figured out by these offenses, and McCarthy has been figured out by these more elite teams of what they might be running here on offense? I think the big thing is the same thing that's been said from jump.
Okay.
That McCarthy is just not, there may have been a point in time where he was that guy.
Yeah.
But I do not. Here's the problem.
Yeah.
Jerry Jones keeps hiring coaches that are willing to just kind of do what Jerry says.
Yeah.
Clapper, you know what I'm saying? McCarthy, a lot of yes men. Yeah. I don't see Mike McCarthy and all of a sudden feel like inspired that we're just going to go fuck shit up. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Tomlin, there's a reason why the Steelers stay pretty damn relevant and like legitimately in the conversation. Same thing with Harbaugh. You know what I mean? Mike McDaniel is starting to put the type of offenses together. So is Shanahan. So is McVay, where you're like, my God, they could just go off at one point. And there's also this like kind of young edge to them. McCarthy just is like around because he's not even the best. I'm not even trying to bring weight into it. He's not even the best like white fat coach that's just out here.
Yeah.
It's like Andy Reid. Andy Reid's got a little swagger to him. He's coming up with crazy plays and shit. Yeah. Like there's an energy that where I'm all of a sudden I'm like, this guy knows how to lead men. I don't get that vibe from McCarthy. The fact that like your time management was off last year. The fact that like we're gonna have a completely different mentality and we're gonna run the ball and all that stuff. And the truth was, if you look at it, you got rid of Kellen Moore, you're averaging 30 points a game.
Yeah.
Like, yes, Dak is throwing the ball away. So you needed the marriage of what this defense started the season as, plus Kellen Moore's offense. And then you're talking about a team that can't be stopped. But now, with Kellen gone, Dak is still throwing the interceptions. You can't put up points. So eventually the defense is going to get tired and wear out.
Yeah.
I just... Jerry keeps hiring yes men because Jerry has said this before. He's been on record.
Yeah.
He wants to be the reason that they won. He is still salty that Jimmy was the reason the Cowboys really had that success. And he's like, nah, you don't know.
Yeah.
I honestly believe this is horrible, but now that I think about it, the only way that I think will break this 27-year streak, my guy's got to bury the hatchet and apologize to Jimmy. I think there's a curse.
Oh, you think it's ever since then? You think it's the karma of that?
I think there's a curse. I think there was too much power left over when he left that the team was not going to be stopped and they were going to get some title. They got one more after him or two. I can't remember.
The Switzer one. You can't even count that one because that was that was all Jimmy's players.
But that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm
Switzer
saying. There's that you had essentially power hangover to be able to do that.
Yes.
Until you apologize and you put this man in the goddamn Ring of Honor and you really just bury the hatchet. I think they're cursed. I honestly think they're cursed. This is the same kind of power you have when you're building the stadium to shit over like burial grounds and shit. You have awakened a voodoo ghost that will haunt this team forever, bro.
As a new trailer for The Color Purple came out today, it's like Seeley in the original Color Purple. You do right by me. Everything you touch gonna turn bad. Oh man, that's hilarious. All right, well, we'll see what happens with the Cowboys for sure. Like you said, they're at the Chargers this week, which is in LA, obviously. But then they welcome the Rams back home in Texas. So, going to be interesting 2 weeks to see what we got with these Cowboys because they're 3-2. For all the talk about them, they're 3-2 right now. So they're 2 games already behind Philadelphia, and that's not good. Coming into this section of the season.
Sounds like we have to beat Philadelphia. I can't even get the words out. I tried. I couldn't do it. Let's go Raiders.
Let's go. Speaking of Philadelphia, let's move on to that game. Jalen Hurts passed for 303 yards and a touchdown and rushed for 72 yards, including a tush-push score. And Philadelphia outlasted these Rams 23-14 on this was a surprisingly good game. It could have gone either way blowout-wise, but I liked that it came tight. It was a tight game and that it was back and forth between them. Dallas Goedert had 8 catches for 117 yards, and Philly has won now 22 of its last 23 regular season games. Dare I say it, those are Brock Purdy numbers, and they've started 5-0 for the first time in consecutive seasons ever in their franchise. So pretty incredible stuff here from the Eagles. They don't win pretty, but they keep winning here, Winston, and they're 5-0. What are your thoughts on these Eagles now?
I would say, how like you can watch a boxing match and where someone has clearly taken a shot. So they're a little tired or they're a little woozy, but they're still like landing their blows and they're still hanging dodging. They're just sometimes a sloppy hit hits them because they're just a little phased. Yeah. That's how I feel about the Eagles. It feels like after losing that Super Bowl, they're like a little shook, but they're still that fighter. And so you watch them still putting the combos up, but then occasionally can get hit. And, oh shit. You know what I mean? Like, that's what they feel like to me because there was something so seamless about them last year. Yeah. There was something about them last year where they were just rolling. And even the low bumps that they had were really that road bumps. And you even get to when they got to the 49ers, which were supposed to be the deadlier team. Yeah. And even they handled that shit. Yeah. I think this feels like someone's like, fuck my rib. And so now if someone hits you a little bit in the, shit, I mean, you can still get the combo, but okay, come on. That's what it feels like to me right now. Yeah. Just watching them. But I think the real story is, holy shit, Matthew Stafford has finally got a 2-receiver combo. Yeah. He had Megatron out here balling out of control, but it was just Megatron. And then he had just Cooper Kupp. And now my guy got Nakua and Kupp. Oh, he about to have a goddamn field day for the last couple years of his career, bro. And Tutu Atwell. I mean, this has been incredible to see. Cooper coming back off the injury, played so well. He had 8 catches for 118 yards. Tutu Atwell and Puka got their touchdowns. And so this team could be crazy dangerous
once they put it all together here, because Sean McVay is obviously a damn good coach. So could this be a second rebirth of Stafford after all that shit his wife talked about, him not getting along with the rookies and the rookies not respecting him? They are on the same page and they are giving as good as they get here. They're just not getting the W's, man.
What's killing me though is Stafford plays just like Cousins, where he's like, I only see you and nobody else. There's a really funny. Do you watch RDC World one?
Yes.
Like,
oh my God, those are great.
They did one about like when you on a team where the quarterback has a favorite receiver, and there'd be a situation where it's like, Rocha, if you're Justin Jefferson, and I'm like over here being like Thielen last year, or whatever, be like, all right, I'm gonna go out here, I'm gonna be wide open, the triple cover of Rocha right now. Be like, all right, bait. And then all of a sudden we run. I am literally in the end zone waving my hands. You've got 3 dudes all over you. Nobody call it pass interference and throw the ball at you anyway. Or with one play, you're like, ooh, my ankle. I need to take the play off. And I'm like, all right, bet. I'm going to be wide open in the end zone. I'm staying in the end zone. Your ass is out of bounds. He throws the ball at you. And you're like, I'm not even in the play, bro. That's what Kirk Cousins feels like. And that's what Stafford looks. Look at this. 23 of his targets. 23 of his 34 targets went to Cup or Nakua at 12 and 11. Like, my bro does not see anybody but these 2 dudes.
I know. Poor Tyler Higbee's out here going, you know what? I used to catch passes for you, man. But yeah, I mean, I'm quietly cheering for the Rams because I like Stafford, and I thought last season was just a bit of a crazy wash. McVay recommitted. They found these 2 jewels, these 2 diamonds of receivers, and if they start to become this 3 receiver set, say goodnight, man, because they've got some really good situations, and Kyron Williams has come out as a damn good running back over the last few weeks. So this could be a team that could get scary dangerous as they get more reps, as they get more games under their belt. But they've got to get these W's to help them get into position to steal a wild card to steal the division.
Also, why is someone actually in the comments talking about the Eagles are 5-0, but the Rams are the bigger story? It's funny to them. It's the truth, because we expect the Eagles to do this. The Eagles have already proven that this is who they are. They've already proven that they're going to be.
They went to a Super Bowl last year. Right.
Yeah, they're the dominant dog in the conference. It's still proven otherwise. So it's between like them and the Niners right now. So that just is what it is, and that's me saying a lot as a Commanders and a Cowboys fan. For us to admit that shit is painful, but it's the truth.
It's true.
But the reason why the Rams are more interesting is because look at how dog shit they were last year, because they were riddled with injury and they seem to not be able to figure it out. And yes, they lost. They have a losing record right now, but they're playing like a team that can easily turn it around before the season is over.
Yep, agreed. All right, let's move on to our favorite part of the show. That's the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs outlasted the Vikings here 27-20. Travis Kelce caught a TD touchdown after hurting his ankle. Taylor Swift was not at the game, but I immediately thought as soon as he turned that ankle, oh, we got ourselves a Kardashian curse. That's what I thought was happening here. If you remember Jimmy Garoppolo, what happened with him. But he did throw one to Travis Kelce after that injury, who seemed to be feeling better by the end of the game. He went 31 of 41 for 281 yards, no turnovers, his most efficient performance of the season, the 5th game into the season. Kirk Cousins threw for scores to Jordan Addison and Alexander Madison. They had chances to tie the game here in the final 5 minutes, but Justin Jefferson went down with a hamstring injury, and there was something really suspect that happened in the game, which I will play in just a second. But what are your thoughts here with these Chiefs squeaking by the 1-3 at the time Vikings with a 27-20 victory? What are your thoughts on this? Should we ding them with this, or should we say like, hey, this is a team that's been doing it for many, many years. People know them backwards and forwards. So the fact that they even get victories like this deserves a little bit of credit. What are your thoughts here?
No, look, here's the thing. The Chiefs still deserve credit because, like I said, I don't think the Vikings are particularly good. No. But Kirk Cousins is actually playing some pretty decent ball. So that means that like, at any point in time, that could be a problem.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And like on a day when Justin Jefferson had 28 yards. Yeah. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that is, is Justin Jefferson on the IR?
Yes, he's going on the IR for the next 4 weeks. And I meant to bring that up here. And Vander Esch is also out in the IR for 4 weeks for your Dallas Cowboys.
Oh, yeah, that I knew.
It could be 4 to 6 because of a neck strain with him. But with Justin, it's the hamstring for the next 4 weeks. He is out.
Well, then I will tell you this: the Vikings are 1,000% missing the playoffs now.
Yes.
If I'm just being honest, like, I mean, that's impressive that they were able to stay in it. I don't. When did Jefferson get hurt? Do you know?
It's in the fourth quarter as they were driving to try and tie the game.
All right. So then that's
Yeah.
okay. But like, I don't see, and that's part of the problem. Their entire offense is Kirk Cousins getting it to Justin Jefferson.
Yep.
So like, that's not good. I mean, Kurt is playing decent ball right now, but he doesn't have enough weapons. They're not doing stuff to whatever. And every win is important when you consider that like the DNA of the Vikings is still in there. So some resemblance of a decent team is in there. So if the Chiefs had lost this, it would have like the way people clowned us for losing to Arizona.
Oh yeah,
you would have got clowned if you lost this. So I
100%.
expect Patrick Mahomes to come in here and put up almost 300 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's great. That is what a 2-time MVP, 2-time champion does.
Yeah,
and I expect them to pull that off. Now, mind you, this is why you don't like. I'm laughing. Did you see the number of Taylor fans that were there and were upset that she didn't show up?
Yeah,
they couldn't just be in the same stadium as her watching. Bro, who is spending $500, $1,000 to go to a game just to be in the same stadium as Taylor? Like, that's your fault. Crazy. I don't know what to tell you, bro.
There's enough of that too. And look, she didn't show up to his birthday party. This is over already. Like, this is done. I'm just telling you right now. My feeling
is
birthday
party and she didn't show up.
She didn't go. She wasn't invited, or she didn't go, or she couldn't go.
When did this happen?
But it was last week. His birthday was last week. He didn't show up to the birthday party. So I think this is done. Mercifully, this is done, and we can move on and focus on the NFL football and not have to worry about the Taylor Kelsey watch every week, for God's sakes. But I want to show you this, Winston. Now, this is I'm so curious to hear how Sean Brennan is going to use pretzel logic to excuse the Chiefs getting away with yet another penalty that wasn't called. Take a look at this. They're coming. It's going to be sound down. This is it. This is Kirk Cousins, 4th and 12, under 5 minutes, gets hits and he throws, and there's a flag there for pass interference. And then what does the defender do? What you're not supposed to do, he takes off his helmet. That is an automatic 15 yards. If you take off your helmet, it's an automatic 15 yards. The ref picks up the flag and then doesn't penalize him for the 15 yards for taking off his helmet. That is a critical play with less than 5 minutes left in the game. Would have given the Vikings a first down on a 4th down play and would have put them in a better position to score a touchdown and possibly tie this game. But yeah, this is the thing. It was a tipped ball, so they picked up the flag for the pass interference, but he still took off his helmet. So that should have been a call in the end zone, 15 yards. What are your thoughts on this?
I mean, Rocha, why do pretty people and rich people always get what they want? Like that's no. I'm dead serious. You earn a certain level of clout where people let shit slide. How many situations have we seen like someone is so beautiful and they're a huge bitch, but they get whatever they want, or somebody is so rich and they're a complete dick and they get whatever they want? It's
true.
The Chiefs have earned the richness of being like a dynasty in the making. Like you can make the argument that they're already in the infancy of their dynasty. Like they're already there, right? So that means a lot of stuff passes. You get shit that just allows you to do whatever the fuck. Because yes, that is definitely a situation. Now the no PI is correct. Because another situation,
exactly.
Another situation happened in the Dallas Niners game with the same thing. If the ball's tipped, then there wasn't a reasonable expectation of the ball being caught.
Yeah.
But the helmet off is definitely a rule, especially when talking to refs. So like that is the rich man abundance there.
Yeah.
That got slid. And it doesn't matter if it was like, no, you are not allowed to take your helmet off.
No, it's 15 yards automatic. It doesn't matter if it happens before the play, during the play, or after the play. And what are you talking about? Sean's like, it's after the play. Who the fuck takes off their helmet during the play, Sean? What the fuck are you talking about? That penalty is for people who take off their helmet after the play, because that's when you take off your helmet. What is wrong with you? I mean, that penalty is purposely in place so that NFL players don't take off their helmet and start jawing at the referee, because you don't want to have on camera them cussing out the referees. That's a way of protecting the referees. That's why they tell them to keep that helmet on. So yes, you're going to get, that's a penalty that should have been called. And the ref looks like he's telling him to put his helmet back on, because while he's talking to the ref, he puts his helmet back on slowly as the ref is talking to him. So that tells you right there, they were protecting this kid and protecting these Chiefs. And it looks suspect. It may not be any kind of conspiracy. Certainly, I'm not putting on the tinfoil hat, but that is fucking suspect. So just saying that right now with the Chiefs. I also want to start a new segment every week called how the NFL saved the Chiefs this week. I almost want to start a new segment every week with like a little intro, like a 2.5 Men intro, something like that. I think I'm thinking about it.
I mean, what makes me laugh about it is I genuinely think about
it wouldn't have been Chiefs' fault. It's 15 yards. It was 4th and 12. What is wrong with you? Go ahead.
Right. It was a situation. It would have been a situation where and even if even to that point,
yeah.
If it was fine, they changed possession, you're still putting them back into their own territory, their own
15
20.
yards. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's still huge. So to pretend like that position is still not a big fucking deal, whether or not possession had changed, that 15 yards is a big fucking deal.
If it's
especially when 12. You know that Travis Kelce's ankle wrapped up and shot with all sorts of Tom Brady steroids and shit. You know that motherfucker. My favorite thing that ever happened with Tom Brady and how does he stay so young?
Yeah.
Did you ever watch that show with Paul Rudd about the cloning?
Yes, that was such a good show with Aisling B playing his wife. She was great.
And so the joke was, how does Tom Brady keep playing like he's 30? And you find out that they just kept cloning him. Yes. Those were clones. He wasn't aging. But either way, all I'm saying is this, man. Watching the Chiefs in these no calls that they're getting away with, or the favoritism, reminds me of when the Patriots did it. But it reminds me of grade school when I went to school with these rich white kids, and I'm dead serious. And there were things that they could get away with that if any of us kids on financial aid, any minority kid, anything like that, bro, you catching so many penalty hands. It's why there'd be situations where we'd be at parties and I'm like, nope, if this goes sideways, I do not have the resources or the clout to get out of this. And so that's the thing. The Chiefs they are the rich white kids of the NFL right now, because they are the face of they're the face, on top of the fact that Taylor is apparently associated with your team, which is they're trying to get women involved. You know what I'm saying? You want the Chiefs to look as good as humanly possible.
Yeah. I don't disagree. I love that someone used on TikTok, they used a combo of New Year's Day where she's going, shake it off, baby, shake it off, yelling at Kelsey as he got turned up. But yeah, that's hilarious. So whatever it is, it helps the Chiefs. No surprise. Let's move on. The Jaguars upset the Buffalo Bills here in London, taking their record 2-2-0 in London here. Travis Etienne rushed for 136 yards and 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter, and Trevor Lawrence finished 25 of 37 for 315 yards with a touchdown. Did lose 2 fumbles, but Jacksonville did beat the Bills, who arrived for the game on Friday morning. They beat them 25-20. You're doing it so wrong if you're arriving in London on Friday and thinking you're going to be ready to play a game by Sunday. That was so ridiculous, and I don't know what Buffalo was thinking. They should have been there all week, getting acclimated to the clock, acclimated to the time, acclimated to everything, and getting the proper rest. Jacksonville stayed through the week. They did not fly back to the States. That's smart, the smarter way to do it. So, yeah, to me, this is crazy.
I guarantee you what should have happened with this, and I hope that there's some if this show is truly done, that I hope that we get a little mini series or a small feature movie.
Hard
that this is essentially Ted Lasso. That Ted just showed up and was like, the Jacksonville Jaguars are here for the week. You know what I mean? I just coached him for a little bit. I helped him out, showed him the sights, made him some biscuits, just doing the shit. Because what I feel like had to have happened is any sitcom where they would go to somewhere else, Friends when they were in London, or Family Matters when they went to Disney World. You let the players have to go to work and have to practice and get their scheme together, but they're out here going to Big Ben. They're out here going to see the Royal Guard. They're having a chance to be tourists and relax in this place. Whereas the Bills had to get straight to work. You're tired. The time zone's fucking you up. You got to go straight to practice real quick. You got to kind of figure out where your shit is. Jacksonville Jaguars have had a solid 2 weeks just hanging out in England.
Dude, I have flown to England. You're not right for 3 or 4 days. You just have to kind of acclimate and hope you get acclimated by the time you're done visiting England. My girlfriend slept 14 hours one night, the second night we were there, because she had to acclimate her body to London. She was fine after that. So I think it was crazy to fly in Friday morning, think you were going to do well. That being said, though, Josh Allen did throw for 359 yards, 27 of 40 here, had 2 touchdown passes. Stephon Diggs had 8 catches for 121 yards and a touchdown, and Gabe Davis had 6 catches for 100 yards, but they still couldn't do enough. So this is an interesting thing to think about. They crushed the Dolphins, then they turn around and lose to the Jags, who have been kind of underperforming so far this season. So it's an interesting place where we're at now with these teams in the AFC. Everyone is kind of scrambling around. No one has really stood out as being the premier team in the AFC just yet. Not even the Chiefs, who are barely winning games here. So to me, this is an interesting situation when you're looking at the 49ers, and they look unmistakably like the team of that conference. With the AFC, I don't necessarily see that right now with any of the teams that are supposedly the best in that conference. What about you? What do you think about that?
About who in particular? Jaguars?
Do you think who do you think is the premier team in the AFC, or are they all just kind of slamming into themselves and there's not really one right now?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I guess the one that I would say above all else is the Chiefs, and that's again because they just have the pedigree, and they have the experience, and you're working off of a lot of clout.
Yeah,
the Dolphins still have to prove themselves. They have been doing incredibly well, and one loss does not define you, but it was the way that the loss was handed to them by the Bills that makes you go, okay, they're not quite there yet. If it had been like the Bills won, but the Dolphins lost by like a field goal or something, fine. But to get routed that hard, you need to go and take a look at what the gaping hole is, right?
Yeah.
Same thing. Bills want to be amazing 1 minute and then not so great the next. So it genuinely depends. So I think the team in the AFC is the Chiefs, and everybody else is still trying to figure it out.
Even though they almost lost to the Jets, they needed a penalty to save them against the Vikings. They did crush the Bears. They barely beat the Jags, and they lost to the Lions. I'm not convinced just yet at 4-1. They are 4-1, but it's a shaky 4-1 for me.
Rocha, just win, baby.
No, you're right. I would love to be 4-1 as the Commander.
Because here's my question: when have the Chiefs gotten routed?
They not yet, not this season. No,
but even that loss, even that, yes, and that would give me pause.
Right,
they have not been routed. It was a surprise loss to the Lions, but I think that was because they got caught in a trap game. They just won a Super Bowl. They're feeling themselves. The Lions wanted to prove something, and they did.
But it's also a soft schedule, man. I mean, like Lions, Jaguars, Bears, Jets, Vikings. Then you have the Broncos, the Chargers, the Broncos again. Then you get to the meat of your schedule. This is going to be interesting. Dolphins and Eagles back-to-back. Then they're at LA or at the Raiders, at Las Vegas, at the Packers. Then they've got the Bills. So this will be an interesting season once we get past these next 3 weeks to see what we have in these Kansas City Chiefs. Because if they lose to the Dolphins and lose to the Eagles, then we know where they're at in the pecking order of things for Super Bowl contenders. So
trust me,
it's going to be interesting. Yeah,
from
but
somebody
it's a soft schedule to start the season.
Somebody who was saying
Alabama scheduling Morehead State or some shit. Go ahead. Sorry.
I mean, no, it's fine. I mean, like from somebody who had a soft schedule to open up, and looking at 3-2 looks wild right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, yes, they haven't necessarily played a team that is a massive threat yet. That doesn't matter. They have not been routed. Nope, and you're looking at a situation where like you have a signature blowout, you have like a game where like you were pushed to the limit, things like that, but they have handled their business. I don't see a single other team in the AFC right now that like either don't have a horrendous loss,
right,
or are kind of hot and cold. Like the Dolphins would have that to me if they again had lost by a little bit to the Bills, or if they were undefeated. But that loss was so bad.
Yeah,
we have like a blueprint of like maybe how you handle them. And on top of the fact that I think did Tua, I saw someone saying that those interceptions by Tua weren't great. I'm trying to see did that happen this game, or they're talking about the game they lost?
I think they're talking
about he had two this week that apparently weren't very good looking. So that's again going to the point of, and this is why someone said Tua is going to be the MVP. And I was like, bro, Hill looks more like the MVP. They're like, how dare you? And I'm like, Tua looks good. Tyreek Hill is a cheat code. Tyreek Hill had 181 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah.
That's He is on pace to average like 180 yards a game. That's ridiculous.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with those Chiefs. We'll see what happens over the next few weeks, what they put together, and we'll see. All right, let's move on. Well, I do actually want to ask you about this. This came up connected to the Vikings situation. Stephon Diggs was fined $13,000+ for his stone cold celebration here. And U Stadium app was bringing this up at U Stadium. How Jerry Tillery was fined less than $10,927 for his late hit on Justin Herbert that led to him being ejected. Take a look at this. This is a celebration, which is a stone cold slamming the beers and all of that.
Slamming the beer,
But then this hit here on Herbert, which was pretty ruthless. You only got it, right out of bounds, helmet to helmet. Only $10,000. So what the fuck is going on with these fines in the NFL? Why can regular human beings who are not caught up in these lofty offices in the NFL take a look at this shit and figure out that certain things are celebrations which are fun to have and other things actually endanger the lives of players and should be fined much more forcefully in the league? Is it because they low-key still, although they're not going to celebrate it, still like to encourage these players to knock the shit out of each other because they know there's a certain section of fandom that enjoys that shit? Or do you think they're just blind to the fact that celebrating with the fans is somehow a negative? If you're slamming beers together, you're advocating drinking, even though all of these stadiums sell beer throughout the game.
They have an official beer sponsor. Like, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. And like, just because you want to get kids involved, you have associated yourself with alcohol. You have associated yourself with it's a violent game.
You got gambling happening in the stadiums, Winston.
So I here's the thing that's I think the best indicator of what's wrong with the NFL as far as this goes is the whole Deshaun Watson situation. I don't know if you remember, they went and got a mediator involved, right?
Oh yeah,
and the mediator was like, based off of what I'm seeing, this motherfucker should be out for a year, maybe 2 years. Like she was like, I would have brought the hammer down, but I have to go based upon precedent you set.
Right.
So initially it was like, I can only give him 3 games. Because that's the precedent that yo ass is set. And then the NFL was and then the NFL was like, and then they gave him 12 because they realized it looked awful. But the judge was like, I literally have to go based off of the rules that you have implemented. And that to me was because at first I was mad at that judge. I was like, what the fuck is your problem? And then I was like, now that I actually read what's going on, it's a situation of, the NFL doesn't know what it's doing.
No,
it never does. It literally feels like a parent is like, ooh, Rocha broke the TV. All right, you gotta make sure to take the trash out this week. What the fuck? Ma, are you kidding me? I broke a glass and you said that I had to pick your bunions for the next 3 months. And Rocha just gotta take the motherfucking trash out for a week. It's stupid. This just don't make no goddamn sense. Like, just making up rules as you go. Like, this shit doesn't make sense. Like, I'm not allowed to eat now because I looked at you wrong. But Rocha called you a bitch. And the worst thing that he has to do is now he's not allowed to watch TV while he eats dinner. Ooh. This is fucking nonsense.
It helps to be white passing. Let's move on to the next game real quick. We got to power through these two. Jared Goff threw 3 touchdown passes and ran for a score to lead these Lions, who look suddenly very, very potent here, to a 42-24 victory over these Panthers. He threw for 236 yards here. And this was just an utter destruction of these poor Panthers. Bryce Young looking like, just looking like a rookie who is lost and having trouble putting it all together. Did throw some touchdowns, did have some numbers here for 247 yards. But in the end, these Lions are starting to kind of come around the corner. I said this last week. Don't be surprised that it's the Lions versus the 49ers in the NFC Championship game. It is very, very possible that is. I mean, Eagles obviously are going to have something to say about it, but it is so interesting to watch these Lions ground into form. And wouldn't it be crazy if it's Jared Goff, if somehow the Rams put it together and it's Jared Goff versus the Rams in the Super Bowl? I don't see that happening, but you never know. I'm sorry, in the NFC Championship, that could be a possibility. What are your thoughts on these Lions here, man?
I mean, I think my major thought for them, which works in their favor, the remainder of their schedule is kind of light, bro. Like, let's see here. Tampa Bay, which is playing very well, but I think the Lions have them by a decent amount. Like, I genuinely think the Lions are a better team than them by a lot.
Sure.
Baltimore, that's a pretty big challenge.
Yes.
But then Vegas, you can handle that. Chargers, you can handle that. The Bears twice, you can definitely handle that. The Packers, you can handle that. New Orleans, they can't decide if they're going to be good or not. The Broncos, they damn sure not good. The Minnesota Vikings, they're not good. And you get to play them twice. And then Dallas, we don't know if we want to be good. You like real talk.
Yeah.
I think at best case scenario, they could win out. I think at like the worst though, they're probably losing only 4 of these games.
As long as Goff stays healthy, I think you're absolutely right.
I think at worst case scenario, they're only losing 4 more of these games. And I don't even think that it's going to be like that. I genuinely think that they might lose another 2. If I had to be honest, I think they might lose to Baltimore and I'll give 1 Minnesota game to them because like the Vikings have enough firepower on offense, they could squeak one out. So let's call it.
You're not giving them the Cowboys in Dallas. You don't think the Cowboys can beat you?
The way that here's the thing. As a fan, I want to believe that, but I'm exhausted on them right now. So no, I'm gonna give that to the Lions because they look like a better overall team. If we get to that, if we start rolling, I'll walk that back. But for right now, they can have that win because where have we earned it, Rocha?
Look, we're at the 5th game of the season, right? The 5th week of the season. And the Lions look like they've already wrapped up the NFC North. I mean, they are 4-1. The Packers are 2-3. Chicago is 1-4. Minnesota's 1-4. They've got a 2-3 lead game on these teams here already. 5 games into the season. My God, that's incredible. Yeah.
I mean, on top of the fact that like they could arguably, if not steal second and have home field for everything but the potential NFC Championship game, they could even potentially squeak first because you're only a game behind it. It's only week 5 going into week 6.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, obviously that would mean that the Niners and the Eagles would have to lose and potentially lose more than one. But like, what is saying that won't happen any given Sunday? As good as they are, the Eagles, like I said, have shown that there's a little bit of there's a little bit of fatigue, so someone can eke one out from them. And then the Niners, as incredible as they look, there is something about losing at least one.
Yeah.
So that you know what that tastes like. And you're like, never again, that like you can push back on. And I would prefer for them, I'm sure the Niners would prefer to lose one game and then win the Super Bowl than to have the Brady pressure of get to the Super Bowl and then get embarrassed by like a Giants type team on the other side. I'm sure they would rather lose a regular season game. You know what I'm saying? So
we got Peggy Gubbins in here. Chicago Peggy's up in here. She says, Bears take at least 1 from the Lions. Book it. Who is the quarterback that's going to take 1 from the Lions?
I don't think you're allowed to talk about the Bears ever. I think you're going to have to sit there and shut the fuck up forever, sir. Because when DJ Moore's out here talking about yo ass, you need to go ahead and be quiet. You need to hush.
We were just tired from the Eagles game, man.
Yeah. No. That's definitely what it was. That's why DJ Moore got to literally just dance all over y'all.
I bet there was a million people, at least a million, if not 50 million people, who immediately checked their fantasy to see if they were playing somebody with DJ Moore on the other side on Thursday night.
Hey, Rocha, here's my favorite part about it.
For a second.
Here's my favorite part about it, and Peggy probably gonna be a little upset by this, but she also not gonna care because that win was masterful.
Yeah.
We immediately said, who the fuck has DJ Moore? And it's to the one guy in our squad who has literally been winless since 2022. Like, my guy did not win a single game last season at all. Not a single one. So the last win he had was the last game going into the playoffs from the 2021-2022 season. He had his first victory this week, and it started with DJ Moore putting up like 42 points. So he was like, wow, I guess I have a shot now.
So you're saying there's a chance.
So he, just like the Bears had to break their streak because they were a 15-game losing streak, he just broke his. So there you go, man.
And it was weird for me because I had CeeDee Lamb. So I was like, I can't cheer for the Cowboys, but I was like, okay, look, I'm cool if they lose, but like, can CD get some numbers here? And he didn't. And I ended up losing this week by 4 points. I ended up losing by 4 points because he couldn't put up, because I have McCaffrey as well. And McCaffrey didn't score touchdowns. He ran a lot, but he didn't score touchdowns. So I got screwed over in that situation. And I stupidly started Cortland Sutton over Jerry Jeudy for the Broncos. And I know now to never do that again. So those are lessons learned when you play. Because I sat Cortland that morning. Or sat Jerry Jeudy that morning because they were saying, Cortland's been connecting with Russell. They're going to put it up on the Jets. I'm like, all right, fine. I'll go with Cortland.
Bro, what the fuck had happened to a chain?
I know. A chain. Yeah. Right. Yeah. The chain is.
And that's why
sure.
IMAX has been quiet about the Dolphins, because if you just lost a chain, no, I'm serious, because the two monsters of the Dolphins are a chain and Hill. And if you just lost one of the two-headed beasts, it doesn't mean that there isn't still a lot of great weapons on that offense. There are. But this kid, bro, this kid, just for reference real quick, hold on, let me pull this up. So a chain in fantasy football numbers, they didn't play him at all week 1.
Right.
Week 2, he only had 1.4. But week 3, when they finally gave this motherfucker a shot, on 18 attempts, 203 yards, 2 touchdowns. Next week, against Buffalo, he had 8 attempts, 101 yards, 2 touchdowns. Against the Giants, despite this injury, on 11 attempts, 151 yards and a touchdown. This kid is a monster. And if he's done, oh shit. And that's not good for my fantasy team. Fuck.
Yeah, this is according to Adam Schefter, he is expected to miss multiple weeks with a knee injury and is a candidate for injured reserve. So when they say multiple weeks, I don't know. This is an interesting post that he put up, because when you go on injured reserve, you have to go out for at least 4 weeks. So is he looking to be IR for the rest of the season or just multiple weeks? Because if you go multiple weeks, you're already on IR. You should automatically be put on IR. So what does the candidate for injured reserve mean when he follows that up after saying missing multiple weeks? So I got a lot of questions on this.
And what happened to James Conner?
Yeah, James Conner for the Cardinals, right? Is that what you're talking about? Yeah.
What the hell?
I like this tweet. Losing Jefferson and a chain in fantasy before I finished my damn morning coffee.
Oh my God, bro. Oh my God. You know the worst part? I pulled Joe Burrow's bitch ass because I was tired of his nonsense, and this is the week he wanted to decide to actually show the fuck up.
Speaking of which,
2 leagues, bro.
Let's move on to that game here as we wrap up the first section of the show. Burrow connected with Jamar Chase for 3 touchdowns, who tweeted out a 7-11, clearly saying he's always open. And the Bengals rolled past the Cardinals here 34-20. Burrow threw for 317 yards. And someone, I can't remember who was talking on ESPN. They said he is no longer Joe Burrow. This game, he finally looked like Joe Shiesty, and he's ready to go take care of business. Is this the game where they finally turn the corner here? The Cardinals gave them all they could handle in that first half, and then the Bengals systematically started crushing them as the second half rolled on here. He completed 36 of 46 passes and was moving well in the pocket, a number of runs down the field with that calf injury. He was set to go here, and Jamar Chase set a single-game franchise record with 15 receptions here. So, man, if the Bengals have figured it out, this could be an interesting AFC again, with the Bengals chirping at everybody's heels as they're running, or biting everybody's heels as they're running up. What are your thoughts on this, man, on this game?
Wow. That's all I can say, man, is wow. I remember just being mad checking in on this game, because I'm gonna hate the Cardinals for the rest of the season for hanging that first victory or loss on us.
Yeah.
But then to watch Joe Burrow again, I finally am like, I've had enough. I can't keep losing these games because Burrow decides he wants to put up less than 100 yards. Like, I can't do it anymore. So you just got benched. And my guy goes off because him and Jamar Chase decided to just do the Kirk Cousin, Justin Jefferson dance.
Yep.
Like, you know what I mean? That's the worst, man.
This is why fantasy pisses us off and drives us insane, because you just never know who's going to show up week to week with people like Burrow. You just never know.
Yeah. So. Now here's the thing that's the beginning of them riding the ship. So they gotta, because that's the thing that's so funny. What Sean over here talking about? Ooh, they beat the Cardinals. Hang a banner. Okay, look. Here's the deal. I already said that your team is the best in the AFC.
Do you play on the team, Sean? I mean, to talk this much smack when you haven't taken one play.
No. Patrick Mahomes is his daddy. That's what that is. And he just wants to make sure everybody puts respect on his papa's name. That's all that is. You're not gonna talk about my dad. My dad can be your dad any day of the week. That's what that shit is, okay? And that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm out here literally saying they're the best team in the AFC, and he still want to be salty when I'm like, I'm glad the Bengals finally showed up. Like what? You know what I'm saying? Like that's wild. That's literally you were out here dating Halle Berry. And I just happen to go, man, Angela Bassett is fine. You ain't gonna say that Halle Berry ain't fine. She the fine. Bitch, I already said that your girl on the top. Why? What can more than one person be pretty? What the fuck is your problem? Like, goddamn.
He's so touchy about his Chiefs. He's so touchy about his Chiefs. Good God. All right, well, let's take a quick break here as we wrap up this first section of the show. We'll jump into the rest of the games right after this. Oh, man. This is good stuff. All right, let's come back here. We got a couple of Streamlabs that came through. Mike Joyce says, are the Bears back? Shut the fuck on, man. Look, I appreciate the fact that you beat my Commanders handily, by the way. You totally did it. It was a Thursday night game. Dick Butkus had died earlier in the day, so you had even more motivation. And we were coming off a very tough road game against the Eagles where we went into overtime. So we were not mentally prepared to take the Bears seriously, and you won the game. More power to you. But I saw all these people afterwards going, oh, man, he unleashed Justin Fields. He finally figured out how to adjust the playbook for Justin Fields. The Commanders aren't a great team. You did this on a middling team. If you had done this to the Chiefs or the 49ers or even the Lions, maybe something. But this is just a fun victory. Enjoy this one victory. You probably won't win again for another 7 weeks. But great. You got the victory. Congratulations. I don't think you're back. And back to what?
Yeah.
But back to what, though?
They haven't been good for a long time.
Yeah, the 85 Bears? Are you back to the 85 Bears? What are you talking
about? No. This is what they needed for their own mentality. Because even if they want picks number 2 and 3, like they want to actually be the worst in the league by it's over, you need your team to walk away with some sort of confidence, with something to build off of. So that's all it is. No, I do not think that the Bears are quote unquote back. Like, just to look at this schedule.
Yeah. It's a soft schedule.
You could win 2 of these games against Minnesota that, like, I could see that going either way. You're losing to the Raiders, you're losing to the Chargers, you're losing to the Saints.
Probably Saints.
No, you know what? You might be the Saints, and not because the Saints are bad, but for some reason the Bears constantly have the Saints number for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the Saints are the better team, but for argument's sake, for the positivity on Chicago, let's say you beat them, and you could beat the Panthers
for sure.
But you're losing both Lions games. You're losing to Cleveland. You're losing to Arizona, in my opinion. You're losing to Atlanta, and you're losing to Green Bay. You're winning maybe 3 more games.
Yeah,
maybe. You're gonna have 4 victories, I think, when you get out of this.
And don't discount the fact that they're trying to get the first pick in the NFL draft. Don't let anybody fool you. They're trying to get the first pick in the NFL draft. And I won't be surprised if they are trying to trade Justin Fields behind the scenes. I would not be surprised. So that'd be crazy. So I can see that happening. Oh, before we get to the rest of the games, that reminds me here, Winston, what are your thoughts on the fact that there's reports coming out that Arizona is trying to quietly move Kyler Murray? They're trying to move away from Kyler Murray here. Where do you think he goes? Not the Commanders. Where do you think he goes to be a quarterback in the NFL? Where does he fit? And do you believe these reports that Arizona is moving off Kyler after they had drafted, was it Josh? I forget what his name was. Josh Rosen before Kyler, then moved Josh on to make room for Kyler, and now they're moving Kyler off. What are your thoughts on this?
I mean, I could see a situation where if you think that he's going to be healthy this year, that I could see a situation where you all of a sudden have Sean Payton trying to make a push to get him up there and to replace Russell Wilson, who just, it sounds like he's just kind of tired of Russell Wilson shit.
Denver,
like you know what I mean? I could potentially see that, because like, again, his last game against the Jets that he just lost here, 196 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Can I say this? This is going to piss off Sean, but so be it. I saw this on the ESPN yesterday. Russell Wilson's statistics at this point in the season are better than Patrick Mahomes' statistics at this point in the season.
Wait. Say that again?
Russell Wilson's numbers are better than Patrick Mahomes' numbers at this point in the season, after 5 games in the season. The problem is Denver's defense. Russell is still throwing it. Russell is still heaving it downfield and getting touchdowns. Yes, he's having critical fumbles and occasional interceptions, but it's the defense giving up a shit ton of points that is fucking Russell Wilson over at this point on the Broncos.
No, because see, look here. I just pulled up the quarterback numbers real quick. Patrick Mahomes, let's see. He's throwing 68 or 66.8, Russell Wilson 66.9% completion. So that's a wash.
He's beating
Mahomes by 0.1. Shut the fuck. God damn it, Rocha.
This is true.
God damn it, Rocha. And Patrick Mahomes is throwing the ball more. So no, that's not. Get out of here.
Russell Wilson's completing 7.5 yards per pass. Mahomes only 7.
Okay, but Patrick Mahomes has 12.
I'm saying he's beating him. I'm not saying
he has 1,287 and Russell Wilson has 1,210. You act like these numbers are egregiously ridiculous.
I'm just saying he has better stats at this point.
Patrick Mahomes is averaging 257.4 a game. Russell Wilson 242. Okay, like get out of here.
Come on, 106.1 is his rate. Mahomes 96. I'm just saying.
No, Mahomes is the QBR is 73.3 and Russell is 45.2. So like we're not comparing them.
That's the interception.
They're not. That includes the interceptions. And
Russell has thrown the longer pass, a 60-yard pass. The longest Mahomes has thrown is 54. He's been sacked 20 times. I mean, Russell's been sacked. Russell's been sacked 15 times for 90 yards. That's a shitty O-line. Mahomes only 4 times for 28 yards.
But that also means that he can't deal with it. He's not getting the ball out fast enough, or he's not making room with his legs like he used to. Okay? Look, here's the thing. All I needed to know about what would ultimately happen with Russell Wilson at this particular point, man, and maybe he finds his way back to a championship one day if the Broncos can figure their shit out. Yeah. But honestly, it's Marshawn Lynch telling the story on Club Shay Shay about how when they decided to throw the ball and it was an interception, he laughed at Carol's face and said, I guess we'll get him next time, and walked the fuck. That's all I needed to know, bro.
And they didn't exchange numbers. Apparently, he didn't fuck with
he had it blocked.
Pete Carroll or Russell Wilson. Yeah, Russell blocked his number. Well, to be fair, if your wife is Ciara, the last person you want hanging around is Marshawn.
That wasn't his wife yet. That wasn't his wife yet. And on top of that, Marshawn would be like, yeah, I would need to talk to Russell. I couldn't find it because I was blocked. But this nigga would call me from random phone numbers. Like, that's everything I need to know. Come on now.
It's true.
Uppity shit.
Russell probably scared. He probably scared of Skittles. I respect that. Let's move on. All right, let's run through these games here. We mentioned Chain and Tyreek Hill, but they led Miami to a victory here, 31-16 over the hapless New York Giants. I saw reports coming out that Daniel Jones would be ready for next week's game against Buffalo. Why?
Who cares?
Who cares? George Pickens hit Pickens for a late touchdown as the Steelers rally to stun the Ravens 17-10. Dude, I thought this was going to be a wipeout by the Ravens on the Steelers. Couldn't believe the Ravens had multiple opportunities to win that game in the fourth quarter and just kept blowing it. And I saw RG3 trying to defend Lamar Jackson on Monday Night Football or whatever, and he was blaming all the other players but Lamar. I don't know why we're listening to a guy who had one good year in the NFL. Look, I loved him. He was great, but I don't know why people think his opinion carries weight when he had one good year in the NFL. He was a terrible backup the rest of the time he was there. I get that he has to defend his boy Lamar because they were boys on the Ravens, but at the end of the day, man, it's Lamar throwing interceptions. It's Lamar fumbling the ball. It's Lamar trying to throw the ball in the wrong tight spaces. It's Lamar overthrowing receivers. So he has to take the blame for a loss like this. There were enough bad plays from Lamar in that fourth quarter that cost him the game. So just throwing that out there. Anyway, Fields and DJ Moore led the Bears.
Look, I have my own whatever with RG3, but bro, Heisman winner, rookie of the year.
Sure, talk to me about college football. I'll give you all the props.
Pro bowler, like he has enough of a resume that yes, he knows what he's talking about. Like, chill out, bro. Like, literally. Now, mind you, Lamar does need to step up. He can't be doing that shit.
Thank you.
But like, for you to actually try and be like, why we even listen to this motherfucker?
I can't.
The motherfucker got a resume, and it literally the only happiness that you have had as a Commanders fan in over a decade. In over a decade.
I know, but RG sometimes.
Stop it.
But I do support him when he was calling out Danny Cannell for his bullshit on the college football. I supported him on that one. I'll give you my opinion, whether it's I'm always fair. Justin Fields and DJ Moore led the Bears over Commanders. We know that 40-20, big. Moss upstage Jonathan Taylor's return to the Colts here with a 23-16 victory over the Titans. Kind of surprising because everyone was talking up the Titans as possibly turning the corner here, and they went and blew it against the Colts. Alvin Kamara became the Saints' career touchdown leader, and David Carr threw two touchdowns in a 34-0 rout over the Patriots. It's the first time that Patriots have ever lost 2 games by more than 30 points. Desmond Ridder threw for 329 yards, bouncing back from that loss in London last week, and the Falcons edged C.J. Stroud and these Texans 21-19. The Jets rallied past the Broncos in the Nathaniel Hackett Bowl and won 31-21 thanks to a long touchdown from Breece Hall. And the Raiders intercepted Jordan Love 3 times last night to hold on to beat the Packers 17-13. That game was there for the Packers to win. This is just growing pains on Jordan Love's part. He's going to have to learn how to play the position, but I like what I see. I just, those are one of those games you just kind of have to suffer through as a Packers fan. So what do you want to talk about from these games, Winston, real quick?
I mean, I would love to go back to how bad the Commanders are, but I think
please go ahead. It's your right. Please.
I think the real story is the fact that, like, I think the Colts actually have a pretty solid team, but Richardson is starting to look like Tua, where he's got all this raw potential as a quarterback, but my man's can't stay healthy.
Yeah,
like that's going to be a problem. Like if he continues to do this, there was fear of Tua becoming RG3 in this whole situation of having all this talent and having all of this promise, but because too injury prone, there's just something you can't recover from. Tua looks okay right now.
Yeah,
I hope that Richardson can get over this, and that this is maybe just because I haven't really been able to fully heal because we're in the middle of a season, that maybe that's all this is. But right now he just looks injury prone. It feels like he goes out every game or every other game, which really sucks. And it almost makes me wonder, is there something in like the training staff of the Colts that you broke Andrew Luck? And then even when Carson Wentz was there for a short period of time, it felt like he kept getting hurt. And now Richardson getting hurt. Like Matt Ryan's as old as he was, like he was out here looking like just devastated. Is there something that's going on where they are actually getting their quarterbacks hurt and shit? Like I am curious.
Yeah, it's a good question. It's like what you saw. God damn it! Who's the NBA team that would constantly lose players or get hurt, and then they couldn't fix them, and then they go to Phoenix and all of a sudden find the fountain of youth? There are just certain teams that have the right medical staff that understand really well how to get their players in the right playing shape, and there are other teams that don't. Andrew Luck got hurt all the time playing for Indianapolis. That's another
That's why he
thing
retired.
to look at the situation.
That's why he left.
Yeah,
on top of the fact that this is the same like staff and set of doctors that were like, nah, Peyton Manning's washed. We're done. That's it. That's a wrap. Now, mind you, knowing that Andrew Luck is what the prize was on the other end of that, I do understand that. But they seem to be wrong about a lot of their medical situations and shit.
Yeah. Could be interesting. And if he's going to be, if he's injury prone this early in his rookie career, that's not a good sign for Richardson. Even though when he plays, he looks like there's great potential there. It's just that, and he looks like a leader. It's just that those injuries will just, deter you throughout when you're playing. So for real. And what else do we want to talk about? The Saints. That was great for the Saints. Oh yeah. So the Patriots. So we brought this up last week, Winston, and I think we should continue the conversation because it seems like we were a little prescient or a little bit a week ahead because all these ESPN and NFL football analysts on multiple networks were starting to talk about the fact that, is Bill Belichick done with the Patriots? Is Robert Kraft maybe having these conversations with some high-level Patriots executives about moving on from Bill Belichick? He was the general manager. He's picked all these players, including Mac Jones. He's also the coach. And it looks like he is not able to do both of these jobs. And he's missed wildly on a lot of these picks and a lot of these players. So the question starts to come out, is he done in New England? And it's starting to build this feeling that he's done in New England. And certainly Kraft hasn't come out and given him a vote of confidence. So what are your thoughts on this?
It might be a wrap, bro.
Yeah.
Like it's I thought Bomani Jones did a pretty good argument about to say that it was only Brady is incorrect because he still had to coach a young Brady through those first 2 championships.
Absolutely.
And by the third one, it felt like Brady was starting to understand how to like do this. But there are things that had to be there. And so I think you could even see a similar situation where like Belichick was a good coach, was making things happen, but until he got his Brady, he couldn't go there. I think in the same way, looking over at like Purdy, I think that Shanahan had the stuff to get to the promised land, but until he got his Purdy, he can't. So I think now that we've gone past that age, it's not only did he go and, someone will be like, oh, well, Mac Jones just is bad, but it's like, yeah, but he drafted Mac Jones. He's the GM. You know what I'm saying? So like, I think that might be a wrap with him and the Patriots. I'd be curious to see if he decides he wants to keep coaching because, like, he's in his mid to late 70s, I believe.
Yeah.
He's made more money than God, and he has nothing to prove. Like, maybe you leave before your legacy actually starts to, unwind a little bit.
Yeah. Well, we see with Sean Payton, these guys can't turn it off. They can't keep from coming back. So I wonder if Bill moves on. Last week, some of our fans mentioned, some of our viewers rather mentioned the Giants. Could see that as a possibility. Chicago could be interesting, kind of hard-nosed legacy. George Halas being a redeemer of Chicago, that could be something. So
I'm going to tell you right now, Belichick ain't going to no damn New York because he's going to go from one dude named Jones whose cheeks to another dude named Jones whose cheeks. No, nobody else with the name Jones will be quarterback for Bill Belichick. That's a wrap, bro.
You're probably right. But Desmond Ridder is someone to watch in Atlanta. I've been liking how he's been playing, so I'm going to start watching some more Falcons games. I should have watched that game with him and CJ Stroud to see how they both did, but I watched the highlights. I liked what I saw from both of those guys. So, we got this quiet little new class of quarterbacks in the NFL that are fun to watch. They're not always winning because they're young, but I like watching their command of their teams. I like coming in and seeing what they can do on the field. So that's been a lot of fun to see. And I think Jordan Love's in that mix too. He just has to get better weapons around him. Christian Watson just coming back from injury or suspension himself. So we'll see how that plays out for the Packers for sure. I got to get your thoughts on this. Let's move to college football real quick. We're going to wrap up with these last 2 stories. Miami's coach, University of Miami's coach, Mario Cristobal, made a wrong call. I don't know if you saw this, Winston, but he made a wrong call here on a game against Wake Forest, and he called, they had 35 seconds left in the game. Wake Forest had no more timeouts left, and he calls a run play. Let's take a look at this. I'm going to bring it up here for y'all to take a look at this. I imagine you haven't seen it, Winston. So here's Miami. They're up 20-17. There's 41 seconds. It's 3rd and 10. Georgia Tech Georgia Tech, not Wake Forest. They have no timeouts. No timeouts at all. So they, instead of kneeling on the ball because it takes 45 seconds for the clock, they couldn't stop the clock. They ran the ball. The running back fumbles the ball. Georgia Tech recovers. And then they go 2 plays down the field, which we'll see in just a second here with a pass here. Right here, they get out of bounds here. Great throw by him there with 16 seconds left. And then with 10 seconds left, the game running out of time, Georgia Tech throws a last-second touchdown to win the game in Miami. Is this the worst ball ever in the history of coaching?
Bro, so it's just something in the water in Miami that people don't know when and when not to kneel because the Dolphins should have broken the fucking record a couple of weeks ago.
That's true.
And now they're not kneeling when the game is over. Because that was a game that if you fumble and they somehow score, you still won. That's a once-in-a-lifetime record that will never be broken. You should have gone for that. And yet here, the game is in hand. They are 1 score away. Anything can happen. You put that shit away. You kneel your ass down and it's over. Bro, that is insane. As a matter of fact, Cowboys are winning the Super Bowl. What Dak Prescott did wasn't that bad. I take it all back. It's the worst thing that's happened in sports. Terrible. Absolutely terrible. Homie might need to get fired, bro. That's awful. Yeah. He will go down in history for that.
I mean, It's next level how much of a terrible call that is. And I don't understand. It's fascinating to me because you've got you assume football intelligent people on your staff who can tell you what to do in these moments. There was zero reason to run the ball beyond hubris. Beyond
Rocha.
this idea, this hubris is all it was. Yeah.
Well, I guarantee you the Miami defense, the Hurricanes defense after that, they were in shock. That's why they were so bad. For those last
Probably.
few.
Yeah.
They were in the game was over.
Yeah.
I guarantee you they were like, what the fuck is because what people don't understand when moments like that happen, you would hope that you would just snap into it.
Yeah.
But we've all been, if you think about some of the most stressful situations in your life,
yeah,
you do not always respond in the most intelligent or the most logical or emotionless way.
Yeah.
It can really fuck with you. And I can't imagine the game is over.
Yeah.
You're already kind of cooling down. You're ready to go celebrate because all it would be is a kneel and the game is over. And now all of a sudden you got to stress yourself out versus the flip side. We got the ball. That's a massive shot of adrenaline into your ass. You were ready to run up on motherfuckers. Like that is absolutely insane. That is insane. And
I can't find it. I can't find it. One of the Miami players, he was pictured on the sidelines. I think it was the running one of the players and one of the defenders, and just like, what the fuck are we doing, bro? What are we doing, bro? He's sitting on the sidelines, and you can see it very loudly, lip reading, and he was just shocked at what went on in the decision overall. So craziness.
I just the last thing I was gonna say is you want to see the polar opposite of what good game-ending clock management looks like. It is Patrick Mahomes running to the 1 yard line and sliding and ending the game, and not like running the ball random, like the polar opposites of pure genius and absolute stupidity.
Yeah. 100%. All right, one last story here. I don't know if you're watching the WNBA, Winston, but these two teams have been on a collision course since the season started. Both teams loaded themselves up like the 49ers and the Chiefs have, and they meeting here in the finals of the WNBA. That's the Las Vegas Aces, who are the defending champion, taking on the New York Liberty here. The Las Vegas Aces won game one behind Jackie Young having 26 points, going 5 of 8 from beyond the arc here with 4 assists and 3 steals. She was matched by Kelsey Plum, Poway's own Kelsey Plum from San Diego. This girl is no joke, who dropped 26 points and 5 rebounds herself here to beat these New York Liberty. Breanna Stewart, who was the 2023 MVP, she was named that in late September, managed only 21 points and 9 assists here in the opening game loss. So this is going to be a hell of a series. If you guys aren't watching these two teams play, these ladies can ball. Winston, talk to me about what's your thoughts on this?
I've been watching all season, man, and these two teams are absolute monsters. I was broken with the Wings losing to the Aces. That really sucked. But the Aces and the Liberty have been so good. Yeah. They have been so good. It watching these two teams, like, it reminds me of what we just saw out of LSU and oh god, where is what's her name at? I forgot. I know Angel Reese with LSU, the championship that just happened.
Oh yeah, Iowa, right? Isn't that what? Yeah.
I think like that game wasn't. Now imagine watching this with now professionals.
Yeah,
it's the same kind of intensity. It's the same kind of like crazy shots and just like straight skill. It is so fun to watch these two teams because they have been at the top all season. So this is literally watching your Celtics and your Lakers, the number 1 seeds or 2 seeds, like making it all the way to the final. Let's go. It's so fun to watch.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to watching these games. And I know the MLB playoffs is going on, but we don't cover baseball. But I mean, if you want to say anything, Winston, I don't really cover baseball, but because my Yankees got knocked out, so I don't give a shit about baseball. But it's fascinating to watch It's fascinating to watch what was brought up in The Athletic the other day, where they were talking about wanting to adjust the playoff format even more to help these high win teams have even more of advantage in the playoffs, because we're watching the Brewers getting smoked out. The Orioles might get swept out, who've won 100, who were the top teams in the league. The Braves almost went down 2-0, but got a 2-run dinger in the 8th to take the game against the Rangers, or I forget who they're playing. But then then you got the other situation going on here with all these teams at 100 wins that might be getting knocked out of the playoffs here early. And so MLB is like worried that this is going to affect ratings.
But see, this is exactly why nobody gives a fuck about baseball anymore. Because you act like the Rangers haven't been a fun high win team to watch. You know what I'm saying? Like you're acting like I hate the Astros, but they're actually good for baseball in the sense of like people hate them, so they hate watch them. You know what I mean? Like I understand what you're saying about the Braves, but the Phillies earn their fucking spot here. And then the same thing, the Dodgers can't decide if they want to be champions or if they don't. You know what I'm saying? They look like the Rams in that they went all in and got their chip, and now they're just like, like, how about make the game more engaging? And how about these teams stepping up when it's time to be big shots instead of trying to rig things for them because you're watching your sport fall apart? Maybe make the product in general and the storylines and how you present it more interesting. Yeah. And people will kind of come back to it versus when cheaters win, you don't punish them.
Right.
Why do I want to watch this? Because I will tell you this, as far as like deciding how winners go, I can go watch the WWE and that shit is way more entertaining. Even if they've decided how things are going to go, I'm entertained by what the fuck is happening. I'm not entertained by this. I'm just angry.
Yeah. I agree. Like, I mean, Texas, I'm on record with my best friend from back home in Virginia. I texted him before the Texas Orioles series started. And I watched the Texas Rangers beat Tampa Bay mercilessly. And I'm like, they are going to sweep out the Orioles. And tonight it can happen. They're playing in Texas. Baltimore lost the first 2 games in Baltimore with their 100+ win season.
I hope so, bro.
And the Arizona Diamondbacks are about to make the Dodgers look like the Capitals, the Washington Capitals, choking out every year when they have a great record in the playoffs. Yet again, Kershaw melted like ice cream in the middle of Miami summer, man. He was a wreck in that first inning. And so I don't see the Dodgers coming back with the Diamondbacks either. So this is going to be real interesting to see how this World Series shakes out. And maybe we'll cover it as we go along. Go ahead. Yeah.
I just got to tell you, man, we got demons to exercise. Like there are demons that I need to exercise from those multiple World Series trips that fully self-destructed, including that one where we are 1 out away in like game 6 and we can't close.
You talking about Atlanta? Who are you talking about?
I think the Rangers. I think.
Oh, the Rangers, right? Yeah, Texas. Yeah.
I think that was against the Cardinals, if I remember.
Yes.
We are 1 out away, and you're up by 4 fucking runs, and you cannot finish. I don't want to talk about this. I'm upset. I just want to get to the World Series and win it. I'm just going to be quiet. I'm
cheering for you.
I have been quietly cheering. I have made no outward. This is maybe the second time all year that I've made an outward announcement of how excited I am for them because I see this just. I hear the ghosts. I hear them.
I want Rangers Atlanta. I think that could be an exciting World Series. So I'm down to see that.
That would be super exciting. I am a little biased. I would say I want the Dodgers to turn it around and let this be a Dodgers Rangers. You know why? Because then maybe not really because the tickets would be too expensive, but maybe somewhere in the world, if I can figure some shit out, I can finagle somebody that knows somebody. I might be able to go to a World Series game. Otherwise,
it's fun. I've been to Dodger Stadium during a playoff series when they beat the Cubs with Manny. That was an awesome time for sure. It's so electric in that stadium when that happens. One last stream live, then we'll get out of here. Thomas Fong says, damn proud of my Niners. Cowboys aren't dead yet, but they definitely know where they stand. And they have a tough schedule ahead. Can't wait for Niners versus Eagles later in the year. Great show, gents. Love you all and everyone in the chat. There you go. Thank you, Thomas Fong. Yeah, Eagles, 49ers, Winston, that's going to be a fun game. Knockdown, drag out, smash mouth football with 2 good quarterbacks going at it. It's going to be fun to see that one as well. All right, any final words before we wrap up, brother?
No, follow me at the Swaggy Blurred. There were like fun storylines that I wanted to do with SVU, but I feel like I have to talk about this stupid shit. Like I don't want to. I already clowned them 2 weeks ago, but I guess I got to do it again. We'll see. I don't know. It'll be funny, whatever it is.
I think the knee is the one you can go with. Not taking the knee, but then again, that's not as big maybe as the NFL. So I can hear.
I think the only problem is that we got clowned so hard.
Yeah.
How do you not like that knee is bad? That knee is really, really bad. And maybe I make reference to it, but like,
yeah.
Unless there's another funny story in the NFL you can think about that, like, what did you think of the Daniel Jones one?
It's not even on my radar, bud.
You didn't see it?
No, I didn't see it.
So you just don't support my shit? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying,
I thought
you meant there was a Daniel Jones story, not your video. Of course, I liked your video on Daniel Jones. Of course.
Okay, yeah. With his ass being a diabolical villain, bro. Like, just get the money and run, bro.
It's perfect. It's perfect. I like it. All right. Well, then follow Winston there at the Swaggy Blurred, wherever you follow people on your social medias. And of course, go and follow him on his TikTok, especially so you can see that sports SVU. It's good stuff there. As for me, at the Rocha Says on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, the Outlaw Nation on Twitch, my YouTube channel, my other YouTube channel, youtube.com/John Rocha Says. Go and follow us there. Trying to get to 50,000. Not sure if I'll make it this year, but so close. Get on over there and subscribe to all the stuff we got going on there on that channel as well. All right, y'all, the best. Thanks so much. We love you madly, and we'll talk to you next time with another brand new episode here of Game Time. Peace.